29th Nama. Om Yeshana Rahita Dhritaye Namaha. Yeshana Rahita Dhritaye. Yeshana. Yeshana means desire. Desire, Shankara, I want to avoid talking about this, but I can't resist it. I don't know why. Yeshana Icha. Yeshana is desire. Sa Trividha Yeta Loka Jayaya Putraishana Pitruloka Jaya Sadhana Karma Sampadhanaya Vitteshana. He gives three kinds of Yeshana. Yeshana are three types. Maybe many times, many kinds, many types. I don't know. Maybe all that desires may come within this three classification. Maybe we should think on that. One is Putraishana, desire for a son. Not simply like that. Not simply a son. Lokajayaya. You want to conquer the world. A desire is such now. A son is desired. Not just because that. Who can conquer the world. Then he say, Vittaishana. You know that Vittaishana is desire for wealth. You know what for? Desire for wealth? He says, Pitruloka Jaya Sadhana. To do requisite deeds to conquer Pitruloka. I don't know how many of you have this kind of a desire. Desire of wealth to conquer Pitrulokas by doing requisite deeds. Third is Devaloka Tasminneshana Lokaishana, desire to conquer Devaloka by means of Upasana. Yeshana Icha Sa Trividha Yeta Loka Jayaya Putreshana Pitruloka Jaya Sadhana Karma Sampadhanaya Vitteshana Upasana Dina Jaya Sadhanam Devaloka Tasminneshana Lokaishana. Yes. There are three kinds of desires. He refers here, once again, the Upanishad Vakya, I can't resist. Te hasma kutraishana, yascha vittaishana, yascha lokaishana, yascha vityascha, yasa dikshacharyam charanti. Vrindayanika Upanishad, 3rd chapter, 4th section number. The first shloka. What a wonderful meaning this Shruti Vakya gives is, makes me feel very, very, very good. He says, the knower of Brahman, having known all about profound knowledge, should try to live upon that strength. The knower of Brahman, who has got a profound knowledge about Brahman, should try to live upon that strength. And that strength becomes his knowledge. Having known all about his strength and profound knowledge, he becomes meditative. The knower of Brahman uses all knowledge and strength. When he uses that strength and knowledge, he becomes meditative. It's a information to be noted very deeply. One should have a strength to know Brahman. That strength may be Ichha also, that desire. And then knowledge of Brahman. He is not knower. Brahman, he realized it. He should know what he wants to realize. He has knowledge about it. Only those who have mind, Ichha, and Ichha to know Brahman, the means or knowledge of knowing Brahman. These qualities makes one meditative. Without that, one cannot become meditative. The person who knows all these things, he knows how to meditate, and also he knows what distracts him also. One who knows that, what makes him meditative and makes him distractive, he becomes the knower of Brahman. That is the Ichha of knowing Brahman. Then he says, this Nama talks about it. She is worshipped by those without these desires, not knowing Brahman, otherwise all other desires. 3. Putraishana, Pitrulokashana, Deya Sadhana, Karma Sampadhanaya, Vittaishana. In this, while explaining these 3 desires, Shankara referred to this Upanishad also. This also a desire, knowing of Brahman. But what mentioned here by Shankara is Devaloka. No, I don't want Devaloka. That is also becomes one of the desires. Deya Sadhana, Devaloka Tasmishana, Lokaishana. No. That desire of knowing Brahman. That is beyond these things, these 3. So, only those men are known as Chitta Prajna, or they are also known as Asthita Prajna. Once again, his mind does not waver. That Asthita Prajna, Chitta Prajna, his mind does not waver, and hence free from all dualities. Dualities is, the pain, pleasure, happiness and sorrow, all that is a duality. This could also mean the one who has united his individual consciousness with that of the Supreme Consciousness. Now, what made me think on this particular place? Even Chitta Prajna, Krishna refers, or Chitta Prajna. Is it that wavering his mind? No, I have no idea. Because the literal meaning of Prajna is not mind, intellect. There are many meanings for Prajna. But I'm not sure in what sense the Prajna used by Acharya, Vidyacharya. Sthita Prajna. Why I am referring this? Well, many have already given discourses on Sthita Prajna volumes. And still I want this fellow talking something nonsense. I don't know. This has come to my mind. I'm sharing with you. You can sleep over and think on that. Chitta Prajna is not simple as a state of mind wavering, not having wavering of mind. For that, Krishna need not have used this Prajna word. I am stuck here for your information. Prajna is very well defined in our Upanishad on various places, not one place. And we also discussed Prajna during this Jnana Yajna. Prajna is the state of the third state of a human being. Jagrat, Swapna, Sushupta. Sushupta avastha is Prajna avastha. Prajna, very clearly mentioned. Not even this mistake in spelling also. Prajna, not Prajna, actually. Prajna, yeah. We have forgot those pronunciations. Yeah, we have forgotten. Just saying Prajna. That Prajna is third state. Is it referring that state when he mentions Chitta Prajna? Because from the state of Prajna, it is much easier to skip to the fourth stage. In the modern psychologists call them as alpha, beta, omega, all that. They use different names for that. But we have told very simply. The Prajna state. Prajna state, the soul is in that particular third state. From there, if you sthita, if you stay there, it can slip into fourth easily. So I understand Chitta Prajna in this manner. All of you need not agree with me. That's different. I record my statement. I record my view. It will be there on YouTube. That's it. Because I have a reason for it to say. One reason is, if it is only in mind, Gita would have found so many names for it, so many words for telling mind. And Mahabharata definitely, after all Upanishads, no doubt. Because why Mahabharata after Upanishads? After Vedas? Because he mentions Gita, I am for Vedas. Then you should be aware of the word Prajna also. So, anyway, I don't want to continue my statement for long. What I understand is, and you can think on this, Chitta Prajna is a state where the third stage is Chitta for a long time, and you can easily slip into fourth. Okay. That is what? That is a state. One has united his individual consciousness with that of the Supreme Consciousness. To read out Bhagavad Gita 4:10. 4:10.
Maya mamupashritaah bahavo jnana tapasa bhuta madbhava bhagataah.
Wonderful. A number of people have attained my natural form by means of knowledge, and they are not with Vita, Raga, Bhaya, Krodha, disinterested in other activities and surrendering unto me by sacrificing desire, fear, and anger. Yes, sir. Then this comes once again, even during Swapna, we will have all this. Is it not so? We will have desire in Swapna Avastha, Tejas Avastha. We have fear, we have anger. All this can be there during the second stage, second Avastha, called Taijasa. Then he says, Vitaragabhay, then only you can attain me and also take Sita Prajna. Is it not that which I am talking about? Quite likely. Quite likely. Okay, forget about that argument. One thing is definite. Whatever is told here in this Nama is exactly suits that Gita. Om Yeshna Raita Duthayai Namaha. All these desires are not there. Then one can realize that her. That's what it says. Whether we agree on my explanation on Sita Prajna, forget it. Agree or otherwise. Still, this is definite. One who is not attached to these kind of desires, that's what it says. That we can realize her. And a similar Nama comes in Sahasraram also. Kaivalya Pratadayini. Same thing here. Kaivalya is used there. This Kaivalya is the final stage of any human being. Nobody is there with that being during that time. When one attains Kaivalya, we use the word Kaivalya, but this Kaivalya is different. When you attain Kaivalya, he is all alone, without any help from around anybody. Right? It's the final stage of one's evolution. That is time. The soul is about to leave the present body and getting ready to merge with the Brahman. Kaivalya is liberation or salvation. And hence, it is called the final stage. Final stage is one. Can be in two different forms. Kaivalya, if you simply understand, the soul leaving the body or body become lifeless, then that may not get union with Brahma. One stage. Likely, it may not get union with Brahman. Then where it goes? First of all, where it goes, if I put a question, to go, should have some form. There's no form at all. Then where it goes? We are referring to the chitta or those thoughts get attached to that, whatever available in the sphere. Whatever that abstract I'm talking as soul, that gets attached to that thoughts already in the photosphere is one stage. Whether it gets attached to that otherwise, that thought is there. It can be attracted by some other living being, which already we discussed. It is called desire. Desire is born. The child is desire is born as child. Statement of Shankara, which I have discussed before. I don't know when. Not during this. Some other, maybe Saptashati somewhere, or maybe
before Saptashati, Guruji.
Panchagni Vidya.
Panchagni Vidya.
I spoke about that. So this is abstract, a formless. Instead of getting union with the Brahman, it gets attached to the thoughts. This is one type of Kaivalya. The other one is souls get ready to its union with Brahman. That stage is Kaivalya. Lalitambika is the giver of that stage. Kaivalya, Padadayini. He gives that stage to this Atma in unison with Atma. And maybe bear with me if it is tough for you. I will try to make it in a simple manner. Even otherwise, those soul is always Brahman only. We know they are not two. Yes or no? They are not two. But this is not realizing that. The individual soul has not realized it. Though it is one with Brahman. Always, the individual soul of even the lowest insect is also in union with Brahman always. It doesn't realize it. Because that is not realizing it, it gets attached to the thoughts. Once again, that desire takes birth. Okay. The question is, if this individual consciousness is merged with the universal consciousness, then about thoughts, still it takes birth. Okay? Still it takes birth. But what is required is, we are talking about Videha Mukti, I am talking about, not Jivan Mukti. The Jivan Mukti already explained in one of the sessions. Realizing Brahman when we are living itself, that's what it is. No, I will not go more deep into it. It will become more tough. One thing is definite. There are two Kaivalyas. When the body is out of life, what we call life. Life is to explain in spiritual manner activity of Jnanendriya and Karmendriya. When they're active, they're able to function, that is life. When the Jnanendriyas and Karmendriyas are not able to function, it is the death. This is our explanation. A similar explanation also our medical science gives, not different. The medical science defines the living being and compare with the non-living being with 4 R's. I don't know if I discussed before here. This is how the medical science operates, the living and non-living. But the Vedanta or spiritual knowledge talks about the functioning of Gnanendriya and Karmendriya and Pancha Pranas. Pancha Pranas are not there. Because of Pancha Pranas are not there, of course, there are 10 Pranas, Pancha male Pranas. And because of Pancha Pranas is not there, the subsidiaries also not there, other 5. Then Gnanendriya, Karmendriya doesn't work, function. So it is death. It becomes non-living. In a non-living being, there is no Pancha Prana or its subsidiaries, another 5, nor it has Karmendriya or Gnanendriya. But still, there is the universal consciousness energy. I am not deviating because very clearly mentioned, the Brahman is present in Anu, Renu, Truna, Kashta. Even if you say Anu, Renu, Truna is living beings, Kashta is not living being. Kashta is the dead wood, not the living tree. By using Anu, Renu, Truna, all these 3 living beings. Truna is grass. Kashta is not that. It is Jada. Even in that Kashta, there is energy in consciousness which we don't feel, which cannot be expressed by them, nor we feel it. But it doesn't. It does. But comes to living and non-living only we talk about. Difference is 4 R's: respiration, regeneration, reproduction, and response. All these 4 only living beings can perform, not the non-living beings, in our understanding. Non-living beings also have the same energy and consciousness, but absence of these 4. Okay. When these 4 not functioning, there is no respiration, response, reproduction, and respiration. That is exactly speaking, Gnanendriya, Karmendriya is not functioning. That is the body is dead, become non-living. Then we also mentioned, maybe in Devi Bhagavad Purana, Kaivalya, Padadayini, Kaivalya God. Pada is 4 types of consciousness, which we already mentioned. Once again, I repeat, I don't want to explain. There is Salokya, Sarupya, Samipya, and Savijya. All this. Beyond this is Kaivalya. Briefly explain for whoever they are not in that. Salokya is the stage where one performs the ritual worship. This Salokya. In Sarupya, he leaves idol worship and does not differentiate between Sadhaka and God. In Samipya, he goes near to the God. Sayujya is merges with God. Then what is Kaivalya then? Beyond that. What is it beyond? Don't know. Anyway, Salokya is not Kaivalya. Kaivalya is not that. Why? This difference I am pressing on. merging with something and becoming one with that. A good example I can give to make you understand, make us understand between Salokya and Salokya is merging over. Then what is Kaivalya? How can you say it's beyond that? Yes. When the river joins ocean, it merges with and become one with that. Not just merging, it becomes one with that. Yes, sir. Yes. You can't find difference where that river is there. Please go to Kanyakumari or wherever you find 2-3 oceans joined together. You can see that they are merged together, but you can see different color. That is merging. They are one, but there is not total union there. This is the best way I can explain this. Okay. Another reason, another example. They call Sangama of rivers. 2-3 rivers will come and join. Then also they merge together, but they have identity themselves. You can see different colors, which can be experienced very well in Uttarakhand. If you go to Rudraprayaga, Karnaprayaga, Nandaprayaga, you can experience it. Visually, you can see that. How the 2 colors, they go together, but they are different colors. But when it joins ocean, this is the difference between Salokya, Ayodhya and Kaivalya. Hope I have conveyed the message. This is Kaivalya Valadagini. Final liberation. Finally, one gets liberated with no further transmigration. This Nama says that. This Nama is Yuthayai Namaha. She is adored by such great sadhakas for the exclusive purpose of attaining that liberation. This Nama says, Eshana Rahita Dhruthayai Namaha. Simple meaning is, she is adored by only such great sadhakas for the exclusive purpose of attaining Kaivalya, attaining Videha Mukti, otherwise, in the language of Yoga Vasishta or Vidyaranya's Jivan Mukti Viveka. He calls this as Jivan Videha Mukti. Yoga Vasishta calls this as same thing as Kaivalya, what I mentioned here. He calls it as Videha Mukti. This is further explained by Vidyananda Swami in his Jivan Mukti Viveka. Okay. Hope I have conveyed with my best.